Greetings, last day of May. Last day of May, 31st. Look what Gunnar from Stockholm, Sweden. What a beautiful present. Wow, he sent me a Vertigo and a Magma t-shirt. And on top of that, this lovely letter. Thank you so much, Gunnar, and I'm real glad you like the Muse. Thank you so much, people. You bless my life. For the most part, we get what we give. It's not all smooth like that, you know. There's bumps and there's folks who have bad intentions that get in your mix, and we have to deal with that. But overall, we get what we give, and I feel blessed. I really do feel very, very blessed overall in my life. I'm just, I had my browser open there on Facebook. Some of you folks may have heard of this actor, Omaha actor who has become known, John Beasley. Light-skinned black man, kind of freckly face. I can't call any movies he's in, but he passed away, and I was familiar with John. We weren't close. There's a picture of us on my Facebook page today. But being in that mix of people here in Omaha, he is well known. I'm known. Hung out with him at a Terrence Crawford. Well, actually, it was at a show by the band The Time. Ended up hanging out with him and Terrence Crawford for a while. Rest in peace, John. I mention that because he's a famous Omahan, and I happen to know him. Folks, I've come across a couple of screw-ups on the Muse. I've straightened it out. Somehow I ended up with the wrong address on 2 items now. I hope there aren't any more because I'm waiting for the correct address on 1, which will be a replacement, and that other CD that I sent, who knows where it went, but that's 1 less. So as of yesterday, I had posted that I had a dozen left. Sold 1, thank you, Carol, and as a result, it was 11, but now I need to go and do this like now and change it to only 10 left available to cover for the one that I messed up, where I have to send out another copy to this person who's paid for it, but he didn't. I sent it to the wrong place. You know, doing stuff like this, that can happen. I'll tend to that in a minute. You know, since I'm not doing business all of the time, that can happen where I screw up, you know, print the wrong thing. Anyway. Thanks for the t-shirts. I love them. And the Vertigo label, I only have a few Vertigo albums, and only a few that are like the versions that are real collectible. I have many of the regular, what I would consider regular Vertigos that you can find. Stuff like Ian Matthews and stuff like that. Here's one that's goes for a little money. Manfred Mann, Chapter 3, Volume 2. And this is a notable cover. It's probably not Hypnosis, but KLL. Anyway, it's notable. Both the inside and the outside. It's a notable design. And this is either a German or a UK This is a UK Vertigo. These are the ones that are most collectible. I've got a few. Gentle Giant, Nucleus, a couple others, original UK Vertigos. Many years ago there was a fella, I forget where he was from, interesting fella, collector, and he made videos for a while. He had a Vertigo collection. It was pretty impressive. Some of you old timer VC watchers know who I'm talking about. I don't remember his name though. Another example, another situation where I really don't know this person, but somehow we connected, and he sent me music. He sent me a rather collectible Linda Hoyle album. Linda Hoyle was in the band Affinity. That's a very collectible Vertigo album, which he has. I have the US version on Paramount, which is not nearly as collectible, but it's a great album. It's a very good album. Cheers. So, I didn't get to this yesterday. But this came in the mail, and this hit the spot. Richard, at Ashtray Navigations, one from then another. I looked online to see that the person or persons behind Ashtray Navigations have put out a lot of material over the years, going back. This is fabulous. This is excellent. I was drawn into this like almost right away. I listened to the first piece. There's 2 long pieces on here. Drink the Moment with Thin Fox Legs. That's excellent, and I really enjoyed it. It's moving. I can even hear how he was processing it and putting it together, and it flows. It's like a landscape. It's like an audio landscape that you're traveling through. I only heard the one piece once so far, so I can't go real deep, but my first impression was, wow, I really like this. This is real good. This is really hitting me in the right spot, and it just kept going and stayed interesting. I also dug where it switched from one piece to the next on the one track. It was real obvious, that this is ending and this is starting. And it's really good. Fourth Dimension Records, y'all. Fourth Dimension is a label to know. This is real good. Ashtray Navigations. I was real happy. It's just, yesterday was a wonderful day. I get the t-shirts, I get the music, and something else happened. I try to get along with my neighbors, and I generally do. And so I told you what I was planning to do yesterday was more yard work. Well, guess what happens? Before I can get out there and get my motor going to do it, I look outside, and my neighbor, who on the one side is my cousin Ray. Ray is 10 years older than me. He's 77. He's salt of the earth, though. But I look outside, and there's Ray trimming my bushes and cutting weeds in my front yard. It blew me away. I go out and say, well, Ray, I was getting to this. He said, yeah, I saw you out in there the other day. I just, then he went on talking about how, if you have the right kind of clippers, you can get down on those weeds and trees that are starting to, grow, and it's hard to get to the root. And he had some garden shears or whatever you call them. So he was out there with his little stool and said, something you do when you're in the mood. And he just said, felt like doing it. He did my whole front yard. It was mind-blowing. Then, as a result of him working, coming over into my yard, into the yard, both sides of the fence, My other neighbor, who I'm just still getting to know, his name is Ray, it turns out. Hispanic man. I don't know if he's Mexican or from Argentina or what. The one who had to build the fence because his dogs were after me. Interestingly, the one dog that was trying to get me, that he had to build the fence for, has already died. Life is weird. But anyway, he came over, saw Ray working in the yard, and the Mexican guy has done work on my cousin Ray's house already. So they have a bit of a relationship. So I see them talking over my fence, so I go out and join them. It just really felt nice. That's the kind of world I'm trying to live in. Well, it's the world I do live in, where we get along. We don't all have to be the same color, the same age group, the same sexual orientation. We don't have to have that. We're all human, and we can make it work. And that's what I do. I do my part to make it work in my neighborhood. Thought I'd share that. I love my family, extended as well as direct natural family. I love the human family. So, thankfully it was not much, but I saw on the last update on used records from Homer's, they had 2 items that I really wanted. One would be an upgrade. And I didn't go. This was on the their Monday post. And I didn't go right away because I just bought records over the weekend thinking I need to chill out. Every time I think I'm trying to save money to get things fixed around the house, I go buying more records. I don't really have as you would say, the extra income for it. I make it work. I'm on poverty level, honestly, Social Security and what little I make off my money. But these were in the used section, so I thought to myself, okay, I didn't go Monday. If they're still there Tuesday and the prices aren't bad, I'm getting them because there are some records I want. So the one that I went down specifically for was this, Bo Hansson's Magician's Hat. Yes, I've shown this before. Yes, I've had this since it came out in 1973, but a U.S. version. And I don't even have my original U.S. copy. I've had to since replace it with a cutout, but another U.S. This is an English, UK, large Hatter Charisma label edition of the album. You folks that know me know that I like import pressings, and that the Charisma label as a design is one of my top favorite labels along with Vertigo. Thank you so much, Gunnar. Wow. Man, I'm jazzed about this t-shirt. So when I went down there and saw that this was in real good shape and the record is in pristine shape, I was a happy man. The other one that they showed in the update that I was hoping would still be there, it's something that I've been wanting, never got a chance to get it. John Lord with the London Symphony Orchestra, the Gemini Suite. I've always been intrigued by the cover, and I never saw it folded out, so it's like even freakier when you see it folded out. Look at that. That's kind of freaky looking, isn't it? Some connotations beyond just the Gemini twin thing. I mean, the intertwining could be suggestive of many things. This is kind of, I used the word when I posted this online yesterday, bombastic, which means it's a little overblown. It sounds a bit self-important, like I'm really trying to make a big thing here, people. I'm really trying to make a big thing here. Mostly, though, it works. there's an infernal drum solo on here, which I love the drums, but I am so over drum solos. Seriously. But when it rocks properly. You know, he's got, you know, Albert Lee on here. He's got the fellows from Deep Purple. He's got Tony Ashton on here and Yvonne Elliman. You know, so it's a nice stacked deck. This is a good album. Crazy cover. I love interesting covers. I was happy to find 2 more records that I'm interested in down there. So this electronic artist, Laurel Halo, is fairly new to me. She's not new, but I've only known about her for the last couple of years. I ended up picking up a EP of hers, taking a chance on it because of the cover, and it was used, and really like it a lot. I forget the name of it. But since then I found, this is the 3rd record of hers. This is a full-length album, Dust, on the Hyperdub label. I found it of great interest that Ryuichi Sakamoto curated his own music for his funeral. He put together a playlist of stuff that he wanted played at his funeral and memorial. Quite a bit of it was classical. I dare say the majority of the program was classical, and stuff that I know and stuff I don't know. But of the other artists on the list was Laurel Halo. And I said, wow, that's quite a distinction, that Sakamoto wants your music played at his funeral. I really like her. And I've only played a bit of this so far because she's good. And there's a lot to digest here. So that was a find. And the other used find that I got, which was the cheapest of the bunch, and probably as good as Magician's Hat, the Bo Hansson album, which I love, and it's one of my top favorite albums. But when I got this and put it on, it's like, ooh, shit, this is overlooked. Otherside by Oliver Lake, saxophone player. It's on the Gramavision label. It's a white label promo. Posted this, and El Bicho Feo, who has a channel, some of you guys have seen him, he made a very good comment about Gramavision in general, that the whole label of Gramavision, for some reason, is overlooked and undervalued. And you do find a lot of their albums in the used bins and cheap. And to me, a lot of them are from the late 80s, 88. I remember this time period. New Age was really blowing up as far as marketing of music. And so there was seemingly an evolving growing awareness of jazz in new listeners. And Gramavision was there supplying good stuff. But I think that a lot of stuff didn't get listened to and just ended up in the used bins. They didn't have any real newsmaker releases that I can think of. But all the Gramavision albums I have, and generally speaking, when I see them, I buy them, even if I don't know the artist, because it's consistently good, and this is very good. Starts off with a blues, which, again, blues is blues. You always know what you're going to hear. But then White Stone is the next track, where it goes original. And then they end up with an 18-minute thing called Dedicated to Dolphy, and they earn it. Jerry Allen is on here. Fred Hopkins on bass, Andrew Cyril on drums. These folks aren't messing around, and what a beautiful cover too. This was a real nice addition to the collection. Oliver Lake, if you don't know him, but you jazz people know about Oliver Lake, don't you? Right? You do. Folks, I'm enjoying the comments. I really am. Someone asked me if I would consider putting out a CD of my best work. Well, to be honest, from my perspective, it would end up being several CDs, a box set. I've put out a lot of material, and I've also have a lot of material that has not been released. And a lot of it is good, you know. If I were to put together my own, The World is Burning, that CD that was put out by Randy's Alternative Music is a compilation of older stuff. There's some real good stuff on there. But if I were to try to put together a best of, I don't think I could do it in one record. And I think that I'm still improving. My art is still improving, so hopefully the best is still yet to come. Family, how y'all doing? So once again, Gunnar, thank you for the wonderful t-shirts. Thank you, folks, thank you for thanking me. Folks are thanking me for the work that I do. Well, this is what I'm about. I would rather spend time safely at home these days, puttering about, doing my thing, doing music, but leaving the world alone. The world is crazy. People are really on the edge, and just madness happens every day. And so I'm happy to sit it out. It has a lot to do with why I'm not touring and not interested in touring. I see many people are touring just like nobody's business, of course, because you can. And people are having good experiences. I'm thinking of Ron Anderson right now with Acid Mother's Temple, for an example. But I've toured and I know what it's like on the road, and I'm a homebody. And things also happen, you know, and if you're in proximity, it might happen to you. For the most part, I'm just happy to be here at home and leaving people the hell alone. All this madness. Last thing I'll say is, you know, I got on Twitter many, many years ago, and in recent times I deleted it because it was so trashy. You know, the whole Elon Musk and the whole political bashing on there, the insane back and forth on there is just ridiculous. But I've gotten back on, and I share positive things and musical things, but I also see the political madness, and it is just so unfortunate. It really seems contrived and done on purpose, purposely upsetting the apple cart and fanning the flames of ignorance, all for the purpose of trying to acquire power. It just really blows my mind how so many people are blind to it, uneducated, uninformed, whatever it is, or maybe they're that messed up and they want this madness. I don't know. But you know, I was just mentioning Twitter, the stuff you see on there, and it's like, this is just wrong. But it goes on. I guess it's okay, because it just goes on. Anyway, that's all what I got to say. And thank you again, Gunnar, and thank all of you. So Michael Dawson, thank you for letting me know that there is no Bandcamp Friday this month or next, June or July. So as a result, I went ahead and put online the last dozen of these for sale. I've sold one since. I'll be mailing this today. And now I need to remove one because I have to hold one back to replace one that got lost in the mail. So there's only 10 The Muse on CD left. It reminds me of one more piece of information that I wanted to share. So I have another CD coming out, a collaboration with Brian Day on his Public Eyesore label. He's printing it up. He's doing an edition of 300 because you have to do that many in order to get a glass master CD. Otherwise, they are these CDRs that I've been making. Now, what he was saying, because I was trying to suggest we just do 100, and his whole thing was the reason why he doesn't do them is, according to him and according to some people, CDRs deteriorate over time. Well, I think that's just an anecdote, because I was going to grab it to show. Could probably show some from down here that are over 10 years old. But I've got CDRs that are 20 plus years old, and they're just fine. There's no flaking, there's no deterioration. So I think that's just anecdotal, where it's happened to a few people, but hardly any. I have a lot of CDRs in my collection from my archives, how I save stuff. They're all just fine. They play fine. So when he brought that up to myself, I think that's a moot point. I think these, especially for how much people are actually going to play them and for how long, that's hardly an issue. You know? So I would have been fine with CDRs, but he's going ahead and making 300 copies of this, and I hope that we can sell them. Anyway, talk to you later.